Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited because we have the one, the only award winning author, Grace Helena Walz, is hanging out with us today. Guys, let me just tell you, this is a good one. It is Good Hair Days. And let me just tell you, she had me at the blurb, the cover, and Dolly Parton. Okay, say no more. Not only that, it is Southern women's fiction. Yes, please count me in. I am talking about Grace Helena Walz, guys. She's hanging out with us today. And guess what? You already know what to do. Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because there just might be a little tea spilling on today. And of course, guys, before we get into Good Hair Days, I'm going to allow Grace to introduce herself on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Angela, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, you've done the introduction beautifully yourself. I am a writer of Southern women's fiction. I am also a mom, so I think my official bio says I write women's fiction in the moments between sticking band-aids on scraped knees and chauffeuring pint-sized play dates. And so that really kind of captures what I'm doing. I love to write stories that are down to earth and relatable and modern. And most of them are kind of centered around women and set in the South. So Good Hair Days is my latest. My first novel was called Southern by Design.
I love that. I love that. And so you'll know, Grace, I love the cover of Southern by Design as well. And guys, of course, you can a little bit later we'll be telling you how you can get your hands on a copy of Good Hair Days, and of course how you can stay connected with Grace as well as any of her books from her backlist. How you guys can get a copy of that as well. We have Helen hanging out with us. Helen, thank you so much for joining us. Helen, I am smiling from ear to ear because if you guys know anything about me, I love a good Southern fiction. And this is Southern fiction, women's fiction, all mixed up in one. It is all the feels as well. So thank you for joining us. Now, Grace, I'm trying to kind of like calm down because I have so much I want to talk about with this book as well. But for you, tell us, what is it about Southern fiction that you enjoy? Because you do it so well.
Well, thank you so much. Really, Southern fiction, Southern women's fiction has a lot to do with kind of my author origin story. So
Mhm.
I have always been a reader, but not always a writer necessarily. When I had my first child, my son, was in kind of that newborn phase of like where nothing else in life is happening. You're just taking care of that baby, you're in the kind of haze. And when I really started coming out of it and I was able to have some time to read again, I discovered Dorothea Benton Frank for the first time. And now unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but she had a massive catalog of Southern fiction, most of it set coastal South Carolina. And that really it was such a beautiful escape for me that it was one of those situations where as soon as I read one of her books, I knew I had to read all of the backlist. I had to get my hands on as many of them as I could. And it left such an impression on me about the feeling of it, what it felt like to be kind of wrapped up in a community. And to really kind of follow these women's lives, some of them, more relatable than others, but so many just themes that run through the stories that are so universal for women's experiences, that was where my spark of interest in writing really started. So it was very much inspired by Dorothea Benton Frank's novels.
Wow. Wow. Now, Grace, okay, we're going to get into it and we're going to try to spill the tea a little bit for the people on today. Let me just tell you guys, Good Hair Days is legacy, there's sisterhood, there's Southern grit. There is a delicious mix, guys, of humor in this book as well, but there's also heartbreak. It is indeed a story of all the feels. So you have to tell us a little bit about this, Grace. When did you know, or what inspired? What was that spark to say, you know what? I have to write this story, Good Hair Days?
Yeah, no, it's such a great question. The very first initial spark was actually inspired by my own visit to a hair salon.
Really?
Yeah, so I went to a place where it's like a salon loft style, where it's like a small business where an individual person, ran their own kind of shop out of a larger building, and it was run by two friends, and they spoke to each other so much like sisters that when I walked in, they were just talking to each other. They were so open. They did not censor anything. And I almost felt like, oh my goodness, do y'all want to be saying this stuff in front of me? Like, I'm not gonna repeat this to anybody else. But it felt that feeling of being in a space where there was this automatic trust of
Yes.
that, if you are in here, you are in the fold, and you're one of the girls, and it's not going to go any further from here. And just the feeling of being in that space and feeling included. And so that really, really struck me. And so from there, I thought, well, what if they were two sisters? And what if this was like a family business? Because I love to write stories about families. I like to think about where we've come from and how that influences who we become, and what we learned from our parents or our aunts or our other relatives who surrounded us when we were growing up, and what impact that has on us, good or bad,
Mhm.
in how we behave and the choices that we make as we go through life. And so, of course, knowing that I wanted to do a Southern setting, the Dolly Parton component was just right there. I had to do it. If you're a reader, which obviously you and I are, and anybody else joining us is too, but Dolly Parton is such a champion of books. She always has
Yes.
been. She has an amazing philanthropy that donates books all over, for communities and folks in need, getting everybody access to books. And of course, she has the hair too. So, it was a no brainer for me. And that was such a fun component to write. And so, really, those were the roots of the story. And from there, all of the branches of the tree grew out. And it was the growing tree, and then the pruning, and the other limbs are growing. And eventually we got to the version of Good Hair Days that's out and on shelves.
No, Grace. Okay, you mentioned Dolly Parton. In addition to Dolly Parton, that Still Magnolia. Okay, let me just tell you, Grace, I was sold. I was like, first of all, Still Magnolia is one of my favorite movies. I am a Dolly Parton fan. I was like, count me into this Southern women's fiction book. I'm so here. And when I started reading it, you ever read a book that you didn't know what to expect? But let me just tell you, from the first page to the last, you had this book girly, okay? This is a book, y'all. Again, like I said, it has all the feels, but you have to tell us a little bit about that Still Magnolia flair in there as well. Tell us about that. I don't know if that's one of your favorite movies or.
I mean, it's a classic, and
Mhm.
I kind of felt like I had to incorporate those vibes. And honestly, it kind of came naturally to the story that I had
Yeah.
built. There wasn't really a ton of, like, you know, different authors, you'll hear different things about, like, oh, how much research did you have to do for this part, or how much of this was spontaneous, and how much did you plot versus did you kind of go by the seat of your pants, as you went through. And for me, that all really came together naturally, and I think it was really because of the setting and the characters that I chose, that it was a kind of a happy accident how much it kind of came together.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Now, the beauty shop, June's Beauty Shop. Oh my goodness. It's such a community for this particular book. And it's almost like it's a character in itself as well. I don't know if that was intentional, but the shop is filled with Dolly Parton memorabilia for you. But in addition to it having, the Dolly Parton memorabilia and all that and feeling like a community, was that intentional for June's Beauty Shop to be like a character in itself?
Yes, that was intentional. And I'm so glad to hear you say that, Angela, that that translated to you because, as authors, we try to make things happen and you kind of have to wait and see. You have editors that say, yes, this is good. And, you have other folks read it, but it's not until it really gets into the hands of readers that you know if you landed the plane or not. And so
Oh, we did it.
Yay! June's absolutely was planned to be a character from the start. So she really, this story follows the Luis women. And like you had mentioned before, there's this kind of big family legacy and a lot of history, among the women. And June's beauty shop is really kind of the centerpiece to that. And she really is one of the family. And the shop is the source of a lot of the kind of emotional tension and joy as well between the women.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot of history about who in the family is going to run the beauty shop and who's fit for the beauty shop and who's not, and how does this beauty shop get passed down from generation to generation, and the tradition of not only passing down the shop but of naming every firstborn daughter June. It really starts to mess with these women, and
Yeah.
throw them for a loop. And this shop that kind of started out as this kind of legacy of love among the women in this family over generations, over time, these tensions start to come up. And then, of course, the renovation of June's beauty shop is also like a large plot component of the book. So when we start
Yes.
out, younger sister Junie has kind of landed June's into a tricky spot. It's been torn up. She thought the money was there to complete the renovation project, and it wasn't. And so older sister Georgia has to kind of rush home. They tag in the aunts, and they've got to try to figure this out. And they're operating on the sly, knowing that probably licensing wise, this is not above board, but they still need to, make their bills and everything. So they're still doing business. So June's is absolutely a character in and of itself. And it was fun for me to also write the physical renovation because it felt like that was June's beauty shop character arc in that sense of,
Mm.
the beauty shop was all torn up at the beginning, and then as these women are really going through their own emotional push and pull and growing and changing and learning to rely on one another, that by the end of the book, they've learned a lot of lessons, but June's is also, anew, and it's, every what was supposed to be fixed up is now fixed up, but there's also beautiful homage to the past as well, that's still intact.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because literally, the renovations, literally, it was a journey with the renovations, and even with that, it also took us on a journey throughout the book. So as the beauty shop or as June's was in different stages, there were also different stages of things that was going on with the characters. And one of the things that I have to say about the Luis women, guys, they are a spirited bunch. Okay, they're first of all, it goes down in the beauty shop. Okay, it goes down at Junie's from their shenanigans of raising money. There's a little bit of gambling. That's kind of we kind of close our eye to. That's not really supposed to be happening. I mean, it's just so much that goes down at the beauty shop. But I love how you blended it all together. And I love how, even though it's a story of all the feels, the balance and the pacing was amazing because, guys, there are some pull at your heartstring moments. There are some moments where you need to have the tissue handy. We'll go ahead and tell you that. But Grace, you did such an amazing job blending it that the humor with the heaviness, it was just the perfect blend. I mean, chef's kiss for that. But this was one of those stories that it was just an all around good story that you capture our attention, that the way that you describe the characters and even the beauty shop is that me as the reader, I just captured a connection to the characters, and it was almost like when they was hurting, I was hurting. When they were laughing, I was laughing. When they were crying, I was crying. So I just want to let you know that you nailed it. It is indeed a story with all the feels. Guys, if you're just joining us, let me just tell you, we are hanging out with Grace Helena Walz. This is a story that, again, I was super duper excited about reading it. And I just want to put this out there for the audiobook people out there. The audiobook is next level. Grace, oh my goodness, the audiobook with your words coming to life, next level, next level. Tell us a little bit about that, about the audiobook and what you want to share about that.
Yeah, so the audiobook is really interesting. I'm not sure how all the publishers do it, or, folks who are following all different sorts of publishing paths. But in my situation, how it worked was that my editor sent me a list of, voice actors, narrators who she thought might be a good fit for each part. So there's one narrator that does the part of Junie, and then there's one part that does Georgia. And so for me, I went through and I listened to the different. So it's really cool because they have the narrators have these kind of profiles, and a lot of them do different dialects. I'm always so impressed. Like, I spend way more time on those pages than I probably need to, because I'm just so impressed by their talents and their ability to do different accents and dialects and tones and all of this, that I just go through and I'm listening to it. So I found there were two narrators that I thought would be perfect for each one, and we were lucky enough that they were available to record, and so they really took it from there. So I can really take no credit for the actual audio. That is 100% on them, and it's so interesting to hear you say that too, Angela, because I've heard the same thing from folks, is that people say, I loved the book, but I really loved the audio. Like, they did such a good job with it. And so I'm just grateful. It's such an interesting experience when you write a book and then to kind of hand it over to someone, because they're putting their creative spin on it too, the way that they read it, and the oh my gosh, I can't even think of the word, the kind of tone, the fluctuation of their voice, and all that they put into it is their own take on the words.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a ton of kind of like there's a gap there. And so you trust, you kind of put it in their hands, and you trust that, they're talented and they know what they're doing. Goodness knows we don't want me narrating my own audiobook. I'll tell you all that. But it was all up to them. It was all on them and their talent.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing the behind the scene of the audio book. It was literally a wonderful production to be able to listen and to see your words from the page come to life. I love that. And of course, guys, I know someone in the comment section asked, what is the name of the book? We are talking about Good Hair Days by Grace Helena Walz. We will be sharing with you in just a bit how you can get your hands on a copy of it. And guys, let me just tell you, it is available in ebook, it's available in print, and it's available in audio as well. Now, Grace, we have to share with them a little bit about these amazing characters. And of course, we'll talk about the Louise sisters, which are the aunties. We'll and the aunties as well. But for you, when you think about all the characters who make up this particular book, I'm going to ask you this question, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the characters individually. When you think about the characters who make up Good Hair Days, and they're a lively bunch, guys. Let me just tell you, they are a lively bunch. Is there a character for you that was interesting, borderline fun to write? But on the flip side, is there a character in Good Hair Days that was just a little more complex to flesh out? Do tell.
Yes, so that's such a great question. And so the book is written in three point of views. So there's the older sister, Georgia, who is
Mhm.
very, typical older sister, responsible. She's the one that always comes and saves the day. Junie is the younger sister. She has a POV. She is a dreamer and she gets excited and she jumps in. And then there's a smaller POV from Cece, one of the aunts. And so I will, and then Tina is the other aunt who doesn't have a POV, but she's, a big part of the story. So actually the character that gave me the hardest time to write was Georgia, who's the main character.
Really?
Yes. And the character I loved writing the most was Judy. And I think I had well, let me go back to Georgia. The thing that was really challenging for me with Georgia was trying to balance her because she's in this position where her mother is deceased and she's kind of
Mhm.
carrying her mother's expectations for her through life, and she's making all these decisions thinking this is what my mom would have wanted me to do, and her own dreams and desires have kind of gotten lost in it, and she's at the point where she's kind of told some fibs about stuff and she's not telling the whole truth about things. And so for me, especially when I was working with my editor as well, she was like, look, I understand that this is who she is as a character, but we also want to make her likable enough to the readers too. Because I wanted to show someone that was deeply human and flawed, like all of us, myself very much included, are. But there is an aspect that you also want your readers to enjoy spending time with that person. So for me,
Mhm.
that was the main kind of crux of the challenge of how do I make her warm enough and relatable enough that a reader is going to have the experience of understanding why she's doing these things, and maybe not telling the full truth without thinking, oh well, she's just irresponsible, or she should just buck up and XYZ. And then Junie on the flip side was an embodiment of all of the things I really aspire to be. So I tend towards the more like practical type A side where I'm like down to business. And so it was such a fun experience for me to just escape into Junie's world where, she's so quick to see the good in a situation and to
Mhm.
get excited about something, and to be optimistic about things as well. Not that she doesn't have her own challenges too, but she was a much more, it felt easier to be in her chapters. Whereas with Georgia, I felt like I was much more, she fought me a lot more to get,
Wow.
yeah.
We're talking about behind the scene. I love it. I love it. And of course, Grace, we have to talk about the aunties just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Tina's character, Cece's character. What do you want to share about those characters?
Yes. So I love both of the aunts as well. So Cece is a little bit, rough around the edges. She is like the gruff one who's like, she loves you and she will have your back, but also like she's gonna rub people the wrong way. She's that character, which I think we all know as Cece whether they're in our family or it's somebody we've met outside of our family. And then Aunt Tina is much more, physically she's small and she's very much a people pleaser, and she at the beginning of the story, and she's very much a pushover, and she has this kind of pseudo fiance that's kind of a little bit of a freeloader at the beginning of the story, and by the end she really finds her voice, and a lot of that too is through um, you know teaming up with the other women to save Junes from, the bad construction situation that, she takes a lot of that energy and, a lot of the gumption that Cece absolutely has overflowing. Tina ends up finding some of that for herself too. So they were really fun to write. And Cece's POV, my main challenge with that was figuring out how to use it in a way, because that was really the POV where I talked a lot about the family history,
Mm.
very relevant to the issues that the women are going through in the story. And so my real challenge there was balancing, I want this to be fun and really be a showcase for Cece's kind of big personality, but also al- convey the information that the reader needs to understand kind of the depth of what's going on, but not make it super boring, like oh, I'm just reading a history kind of that's not entertaining.
And I love the way that you incorporated that in there because, again, it did give us that backstory. It also gave us insight on each of the women and kind of why they behaved in certain manners, why, like, if they kind of had a chip on their shoulder, why they did. So it really did give us an insight to be able to see them fully developed and the reasons behind some of their actions. So I love that you did that as well. Guys, if you're joining us, we're hanging out with Grace Helena Walz on today. Her latest release, guys, is called Good Hair Days. It is a good one. We have a question from the audience. Someone wanted to know, do you plot first or do you allow the characters to kind of write themselves when you are in your writing cave? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I definitely lean much more towards being a plotter.
Hmm.
But that said, I also have to have a really clear idea of, who my characters are going to be and what their desires are, what their goals are, and what's standing in their way. I admire the people that can just sit down and kind of go by the seat of their pants and they come up with these brilliant things. But for me, that just ends up with me having to toss tons of stuff out. So I'm not as meticulous of a plotter as some authors are. I love, listening to author talks and attending, different events in person, hearing other authors speak about their work, because everybody seems to do things slightly differently. So I would say I'm kind of like definitely a plotter, but a moderate plotter. I'm not,
Hmm.
some people are going, scene by scene by scene, which I don't do because I do once I have a clear sense of the characters, I do like to let them have some leeway. And as I'm going through, a lot of times I will find that, oh, I thought this was going to come right after this, but in fact, I think we need to do this first. And so I have a plot, but it's always flexible. It's always adjustable. And a lot of that is because of the characters and because of the pacing of the story. And as I'm going through, I kind of get a sense for, oh, this isn't quite right. Let's change. Let's change the plan. There's always a plan, but the plan is always flexible.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing your behind the scene of your writing as well.
Yeah.
Now, oh my goodness, Grace, we have to talk about this, my friend, and we have to spill a little bit of tea for the people. Okay, so this whole Team Save June and the shenanigans, the money making squabbles and schemes, and we have to talk about that a little bit. That was hilarious. Tell us a little bit about how that was for you to write it,
Yeah.
and did you kind of map it out? Like, did you kind of have some things in mind? Did you use a Pinterest board to say, you know what, these are some of the funny things that they're going to do for save for to save June's, and also in saying that there was almost like I felt like it was the battle of the shop wars, the beauty shop
Yeah.
wars. Tell us a little bit about that. Those scenes was hilarious to me, especially the one where they go toilet paper dream. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So the toilet papering scene. So just to give folks who haven't read it a little backstory, there is a rival haircut salon that opens up across town. Think like a chain like Great Clips or something that's, got a lot of corporate power behind it. And so the Luis women are feeling threatened that, this is going to take business away from us. And they kind of get a bee in their bonnet about this other place and why are they opening up so close to us. And so they, under the cover of night, the women go and they teepee the salon front, and there's all kinds of, hijinks. And these are grown women, mind you. This is not a
Yes.
YA book. These are not teenagers. These are grown women who are just looking for a way to kind of, stick it to someone without, maybe getting in trouble with the law or anything like that. But they are a rowdy crew. There's a lot of heart behind everything that they do. Um, and the money making schemes, that was fun. I have to tell you guys, a fun behind the scenes thing as well. There's a certain number when you work with a line editor, they are the editor that goes through and they basically double check you on everything. Like they are the person that's looking for all the holes, the plot holes, or, oh, well, you said this, 2 days ago or two chapters ago, you said it was 2 days ago, and now you're saying it's a Sunday, but this business would have been closed on a Sunday, and all the details that we like to kind of skate past. So anyway, a fun fact, the math behind the shop saving money was like a whole thing, because I thought I had been keeping track of the money of, like, oh, they needed, $50,000. And I was like, okay,
Hey,
I'm keeping track. And I'm thinking, I even have a piece of paper out where I'm writing down, they made this much here, they made this much here. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be golden. Like, this is going to go to line edits. There's going to be no comments about the
all
money.
right, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I was not good. I
Oh,
got it back, and she was like, actually, like, no, no, you're missing like $360. And I was like, what? So, I mean, I may not be the one to balance anyone's budgets, but coming up with the fun hijinks and the money making schemes. My favorite money making endeavor was Aunt Tina selling her pies at the county fair,
yes,
um, because meek little Aunt Tina just needed to take her moment in the spotlight. She had always been known for, baking this incredible cherry pie, and everybody
yes,
loved it. And it was just her moment to kind of step up and say, you know what, I can do this, with all
I
her
can
women
do
behind
this.
her. And it was so successful for her as well. So that was the one that really was like, when you write, at least my experience in writing a book is that there are scenes that you're looking forward to writing. Like, I knew from the outset when they started talking about things that Tina was going to sell the pies, and it was going to be a great success, and it was going to be this just really satisfying moment of, like, you took a step outside of your comfort zone, your people showed up for you, and you were an incredible success because you have been fabulous forever, even if you haven't noticed it.
Yeah,
And so I knew that scene was happening and that was going to happen. And so that was one for me that I really looked forward to writing. And when I got to write it, I was just like, ah, yes. And even then, when I had to go back in edits and, like, kind of rewrite that scene when we changed some of the plot, I was like, no worries. I'm happy to come back to this scene and spend some more time here.
I love that. Grace, we're going to switch gears here a little bit. We're going to do a little rapid fire, my friend. And so
Okay.
I'm going to tell you either a word or phrase, and you share with us, spilling as much tea as you would like, what's the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. Good hair days. A character who would absolutely overshare at the shampoo bowl.
Oh, Junie, 100%.
I would say the same thing. I would definitely say the same thing. Okay. Um, let's see. A scene you wish you could watch unfold on the big screen for Good Hair Days. A scene that you absolutely would love to watch unfold on the big screen.
Oh my gosh, that is such a tough one. I mean, if I could say the whole movie, I would say the whole movie,
Me
but
too. I'm with you.
but I would pick, I don't want to give any spoilers away. Okay, I will say this. The moment that all the women get to go and see June's beauty shop finished after the renovation, that's what
Oh
I would
yeah.
pick one.
Yes. Oh wow. I just kind of got like emotional just thinking about that scene and how it unfolded as well. And one fun one that I would say is the card games.
Yes, yes. And those were other scenes that were just so fun to write.
Card games, absolutely. I would love to see those unfold on the big screen as well. Okay, we're gonna play a quick round of this or that. There is no right or wrong answer, Grace. It is all things according to you, but it is this or that. Good Hair Days edition. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm so ready.
Okay. First up, Dolly Parton posters or vintage hair dryer chair.
Oh, Dolly Parton poster.
Okay. Hot rollers or foam rollers?
Hot rollers.
Okay. Shampoo bowl confessions or dryer chair town news?
Oh gosh, Angela, oh, it's like picking a favorite child. I'm gonna go for the shampoo bowl confession.
Okay. Heart to heart or holler and hug? A heart to heart or holler and hug?
Holler and hug.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. The time goes by so fast, Grace.
I
It has been
know.
amazing hanging out with you on today, talking about good hair days. And of course, guys, there is a giveaway on today. I am going to allow Grace Helena Walz to share with you what the giveaway is going to be. I know what the giveaway is going to be. It's an amazing giveaway, by the way. And once he shares with you what the giveaway is, you guys know what to do. If you have commented throughout our broadcast on today, I'm going to get Grace to help me. I'm going to go up and down the comment section. She's going to tell me when to stop. And then that person will be the winner of the giveaway. Grace, can you share with us what the giveaway tonight is going to be?
Yes, Angela, I'm so excited to give 3 people a signed copy of Good Hair Days that will come straight off of my personal stack that's back here. And so, y'all go ahead and leave a comment if you haven't yet so we can enter you. And I'm excited to give away those 3 signed copies.
I love that, guys. Did you just hear that? 3 copies, 3 individuals will be the winner of a copy of Good Hair Days. And guys, let me tell you, it's a good one. As you can see, I still have a book hangover. I absolutely love Good Hair Days. I want everybody to read Good Hair Days. Book clubs. Oh my goodness. Great conversation with Good Hair Days as well. And Helen said that she loves a good family drama book. Excited to read this book as well. Okay, so Grace, I'm getting ready to go up and down the comment section. We're going to do it 3 times.
Okay.
And you're going to tell me when to stop, my friend. So let me get everything ready for us. Okay. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's see. Hold on. Stop. Okay. Let me start over. Okay. You're going to tell me when to stop, and then that person will be the winner. So the first step, we're going to do it for the first time.
Okay.
I am ready when you are.
Stop.
Okay. Dahlia, you are the first winner. She was saying that she loved audiobooks. You are the first winner. So we're going to hold tight. All right. We're getting ready to go again. I am ready.
Okay, stop.
Okay. Uh-oh. Did it come up? Let's see. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. It kind of froze. Okay. Here we go. All right. Tell me one more time.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, stop.
Okay. Helen Gibson, you're up next, my friend. Okay,
Yay.
we have one more try. There is one more person. All right, let me give it a spin in the comment sections. Let me give it a spin. All right. Okay, I'm
Do
ready.
you want me to tell you to stop?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm not very good at this. Okay, stop.
okay. Tony Bonita, you're the third person. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. So we have Dahlia Flores Williams, we have Helen Gibson, and we have Tony Bonita. You guys are the winners. If you guys will inbox me, I'll be sure to get that information over to author Grace Helena Walz, and you will get a copy of Good Hair Days. Oh my goodness, Grace, it has been amazing hanging out with you. And I want to ask you this. I'm going to say these 3 words and tell me what comes to mind, my friend, and we'll kind of wrap this up. But hustle, heart, Southern integrity. Hustle,
Oh.
heart, Southern integrity. What comes to mind when it comes to Good Hair Days?
Oh, I think the love between all the women. I think, that's what it all comes back to. And that's the heart of why they're willing to hustle and, what the love is between them and one another. And I think, it may sound trite, but I think love is what makes the world go round.
I love that. I love that. And of course, Grace, you have to share with us how can they get their hands on a copy of Good Hair Days?
Yes, so Good Hair Days is available wherever books are sold. So my favorite spot to shop is my local independent bookstore. But if you don't have one close to you, you can also find it at Barnes and Noble, online at Target, Walmart, Amazon, even. So if you want to start with your indie bookstore, even if they don't have it in stock, they can usually order it for you, and you can go in and pick it up. Otherwise, it should really be available anywhere. The audio, we talked about the audio book, that's available on, all of the platforms, the major platforms as well. An ebook too, wherever you get your ebooks from.
I love that. I love that. And of course, at Grace Helena Waltz, you have to share with us, my friend, how can we stay connected with you?
Yes. So social media wise, I'm most active on my Instagram account. And so the handle for that is at gracehelenaBooks.com, or not.com, just at Grace Helena Books. And then for the other way to stay in touch with me is really my website. So that's my full name, as it's written out below me.com. And so when you go to the website, it'll prompt you if you want to sign up for my newsletter. That's a great way. I email out, updates, what I'm writing, what I've got coming out. I'll email out when I have events scheduled and tours, and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm also, I have another book that's coming out in July that I'm getting ready to start doing some giveaways of some ARCs. So if you have interest in Southern fiction, please sign up for my newsletter, and you'll be getting all those notifications about what's happening with the rest of the books.
And guys, let me just tell you, I've seen the cover for it. I'm super duper excited. I am super duper excited about it. So, guys, definitely make sure you stay connected with her. Sign up for her newsletter so you'll be in the know. Follow her on social media. And I can't wait for you guys to hear about her new book that's coming pretty soon as well. But in the meantime, I need for you to go right now, get you a copy of Good Hair Days. And guys, after you read it, leave Grace Helena Waltz a review. I know that she will be so appreciative of that. And not only that, for this one, guys, tell a friend to tell a friend to get them a copy of Good Hair Days. Not only that, if you want to, buddy read, book clubs, read Good Hair Days as well. I promise you, you will enjoy this one and you will totally have a book hangover like I do as well. Grace Helena Waltz, thank you so much for hanging out with us here at the cafe. It has been amazing, my friend. And of course, I have to allow you the last words of what you want to say to the people tonight.
Well, first, Angela, I wanted to just say a massive thank you to you for having me, for all your support. You are an incredible champion of books, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you to everybody that joined us tonight. I'm so excited. It's just always such a great feeling when book people all get together, whether that's online or in person. I am a true believer that book people are the best people ever. And so I'm just so fortunate to get to connect with new people online. So thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for listening about Good Hair Days. And I so hope that you want to pick up a copy.
I love that. I love it. There you have it, guys. A Good Hair Days by Grace Helena Waltz. It's available now. It's available where books are sold. As we said, ebook, audio book, as well as print. As we always say here at the cafe, have an amazing day because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we will see you guys later. Get a copy of Good Hair Days.